how you doing? Justin here. Today we are checking out Gravity by John Mayer. This lesson's going to be about the rhythm part, and I'm going to do another lesson which will cover the intro solo and the main solo, both of which are really lovely solos, but it would be great if you had to go at working them out by yourself first, because they're not particularly difficult. It'd be really good practice for you to see how far you can get learning it by ear and then come back and check out the lead lesson afterwards. Especially after learning the rhythm part, you'll understand a bit about the keys and what's going on, the chords, so it should give you some kind of solid ideas about what notes he might be using. You know, if you just use your ears and, you know, have muck around, you'll probably find it. So I'm going to take you through the chord progression in a real basic way, and then I'll talk about some of the embellishments that you might choose in a close-up. So let's have a chat about the chord progression. Now, it's an 8-bar sequence. We're starting off with a whole bar of G, then a whole bar of C, whole bar of G, whole bar of C, then A minor, D or D7, and then we've got this little half a bar of G minor over B flat chord, which we'll talk about in a sec, to an E flat chord, to a D7 or D or D7. That would be the most basic sequence, okay? So G, C, G, C, A minor, D, and then this little half bar of G minor, half bar of E flat to a bar of D, 8-bar sequence. Now, there's quite a few things that John's doing straight off to embellish it a bit. The sound of the C on the organ part is playing a C6, so a C chord with an added A note, which John doesn't seem to play all the time, but you know that it still sounds good. He seems to be playing a C with an E bass, so just simply putting an E note on the bottom of a C chord. I'm going to show you specific voicings on how to do that in a second, but that seems to be what John Mayer is playing on live versions. For the A minor, he's generally playing an A minor 7 chord. He would normally do it with his thumb. I'm going to go to a close-up to show you these chords in just a sec. I find that pretty awkward. I can kind of do it, but not consistently all the time, so I tend to use a regular bar. D7. Now the G minor with a B flat bass. Again, it's a slightly unusual chord. It's a great sounding chord, not particularly difficult, although, you know, if you're new to it, it'll feel a bit awkward when you first try and approach it. And then it's going to an E flat major to a D7. So the last ones are fairly straightforward, but there's a lot of subtle things about the way he's playing that very much kind of relying on the Hendrix school of rhythm guitar, you know, using the thumb on the bass note and a lot of little embellishments that you can do like that. So I think that's going to be best in a close-up, so let's do that. Okay, so let's go through each one of these chords and different approaches to it. So if you're starting off with a regular G chord, I'd generally be using the thumb to play the bass note. Third finger would be playing the 5th fret of the 4th string, third finger on the 4th fret of the 3rd string, and first finger will be barring the thinnest 2 strings. So like kind of some of you might have learned like a little, you know, an easy F chord like that without playing the thickest 2 strings. So if you move that up 2 frets to a G, and then get thumb to come over and play the bass note. Now, I've been practicing for a few years now using my 3rd finger to sit in between the 4th and 5th strings, so I can actually get both of those notes with both strings with the one finger by putting it in the middle of the 2 strings. It's quite difficult. It's taken quite a lot of practice to get that right. So I would recommend probably more just going for muting the 5th string and then concentrating on the 3rd finger going down on the 4th string. Although I just find my finger naturally goes to that spot now when I'm doing it. The advantage, the reality of this chord is that you want to be able to embellish it. And the little finger being free, it works on all of the 5th fret on the thinner string, the 2nd string, and the 3rd string. I nearly always, for that note, for some reason I want to use my 3rd finger. Okay, so I don't know why that little finger would definitely, it should be easier, but you know, I find it easier to use 3rd finger sometimes. So experiment and see which of those kind of feels better for you. That's the G chord. Now, the C chord, the way John's playing it is this, which is C with an E bass. So there's a regular C chord. We're going to keep all of those 3 notes. We're going to just use the 3rd finger to slide up to the 7th fret of the 5th string, and 1st finger will go down where the 3rd finger was before. Okay. Now the great thing about this is that the 3rd finger can also hammer onto the 3rd string and the 4th string. All sounds really good on the C. Okay, he's not doing anything that fancy. It's a lot more subtle than that, but that's usually what he's playing. That's the grip he's using. One little nice little melody element that he's using is like a little echo for some of the other harmony lines, is this first finger, 5th fret of the 3rd string, 3rd finger on the note A, which is the 7th fret of the 4th string, which is a sound that the keyboard's playing, but he goes, just slides it up 2 frets and brings it back and plays it twice. It's just a really nice little movement on the, so we have the G, C, okay, that's the, so it's going G, C with an E bass, G, C with an E bass. Then it goes to A minor 7. Now John would normally be using 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string, 1st finger, 5th fret of the 3rd string, and little finger on the 8th fret of the 2nd string. Okay, now he uses his thumb to reach around. I find that chord really awkward. It's just, I can kind of do it, but it's be a bit hit and miss in the real world. So I tend to do it with just using my 1st finger as a bar. And he is picking out this little pattern. So 6th string, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's A minor 7, then it goes to D7. Same little pattern, but now the root's on the 5th string, obviously. So 5, 4, 3, 2. Now here's our G minor with a B flat bass. So this was essentially this chord. So it's a minor, D minor shape. Okay, so hopefully you recognize that that's a kind of a D minor chord like you might play in the open position, but we're using it as a bar, so it's become a G. Okay, so those of you still struggling with the cage stuff, there's D minor, D sharp, E minor, F, F sharp minor, G minor. Okay, and then all we've done is move this note, the B flat on the thinner string, onto the thicker string. So we've got a G minor with a B flat bass. Lovely chord. Okay, and again he's just doing that 6th string, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 3rd, 4th pattern. Just once. E flat. I think it's a major, not a 7, but 7 works just as well. To a D7. You can see quite often on the videos of stuff being played, you can feel, you know, if you hold the guitar body real tight, and then I'm pulling with my arm to really kind of, I'm pulling the neck back as hard as I can to get this effect. You know, you have to hold on the guitar body real, so it's not like, that doesn't really do anything if you just shake the guitar around. You've got to hold the body of the guitar real tight, so that you really move, you can feel the neck moving a little bit against the body. Okay, so that whole thing, just to play it through, so G, to C with an E bass, G, to A minor, to D7, G minor with a B flat bass, to E flat, to D, D7. Other things that you might want to try, I've got some lessons, Hendrix rhythm guitar styles over on the website. You might want to go and check that out. One thing that he's using a bit on the original recording, you don't see him doing it so much live, but is this nice little riff here for the G. So this is like a C-shape G chord, okay? So again, if we started life as a C chord, regular C chord, and then we change the fingering to use fingers 2, 3, and 4, and gradually move it up until we're at G. That's the full chord. This is a G chord. You can hear it sounds like a G, right? But this, the strings 2, 3, and 4, little triad shape, really, really nice for this kind of style again, the Hendrix-y Okay, so that's 9th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret on strings 4, 3, and 2. And third finger, leaving first and second fingers down. First finger sometimes might need to bar the 4th string as well, actually, thinking about it. But third finger hammering down into the 9th fret. And this little pattern on the 2nd and 3rd strings, if thumb reaches over and plays a C bass note, really, really nice on the C chord as well. So it's another little option that I think I can hear John do it. It's definitely on the original recording, the very first part. Pretty certain that's what's going on the original recording, but not exactly how he plays it live on the, Where the Light Is version. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun experimenting with these kind of Hendrix-style chord embellishments. They're a really fun thing to be able to work into your playing. Very, very useful. You can use them in lots of different styles. And, I often get asked about how you incorporate lead into the rhythm. And this is kind of a good opener for getting into that idea of you have to keep the rhythm solid, of course. That's really, really important that you're aware of where the beat is all the time. It's not, you shouldn't stop tapping your foot just because you're not playing all the time and playing a consistent strumming pattern. So you want to be really aware of the beat, and then you're doing, chordy ideas, chordal embellishments or whatever, but they're still got to be really in time. That's really important. And, playing along with the original recording and trying to cop some of John Mayer's feel for it would also be a really good lesson. So have a bit of fun with that, and hopefully I'll see you for some more very soon. Well, I'm assuming you're going to join me for the solos, right? Anyway, later. Bye-bye.